I'm Larry Merchant. For the next hour or so, 12 to 15 rounds, we're going to preview the greatest show on earth, a major heavyweight championship fight, Mike Tyson versus Michael Spinks.
I'm Jim Lampley, and I'll be reporting on how this fight was made and how it compares as a public event with another battle between undefeated heavyweight champions that took place nearly 2 decades ago.
And I'm Sugar Ray Leonard, and I'll be with the only common opponent of both fighters, former heavyweight champion Larry Holmes, as we discuss and demonstrate the styles of each fighter.
Joining us, Donald Trump, the tycoon who helped bankroll the show, and experts who will analyze the fight and the issues surrounding it. Can the slugger, the champion Mike Tyson, keep from getting boxed? Can the boxer, the challenger Michael Spinks, keep from getting slugged? Basic questions about the most basic sport. But this time the answers will come in your basic, once-in-a-decade heavyweight extravaganza. We won't get the real answer, of course, until June 27th. But the point of such dramas is the anticipation and the speculation that we all want to be a part of. Just making this fight, a fight of this enormous magnitude, was a major fight itself, as Jim Lampley reports.
The Leroy Neiman painting, commissioned by Donald Trump to commemorate the first combative moments of Tyson Spinks, will, upon completion, have required about 3 days of the artist's creative energy. But the fight itself, on the canvas of Atlantic City, is a mural wrought over nearly 2 years of work from a palette of ego, insult, posturing, and legal wrangling, unprecedented even in the business of boxing.
Actually, the making of the Tyson-Spinks fight did definitely begin when Mike entered the heavyweight series, because at that time Spinks was the IBF champion.
There were 3 heavyweight champions when HBO created a unification series aimed at ultimately producing 1 heavyweight champion. The series received its biggest boost in August 1986, when boxing's newest sensation, Mike Tyson, came aboard. 3 months later, he too would become a champion of the world, moving 1 step closer to the expected series finale, a meeting with then IBF champion Michael Spinks. But trouble loomed ahead.
We hear reports that you have already agreed to fight Jerry Cooney outside of the tournament, that you might be making an announcement soon. Would you comment on that?
Well, let me say this, Larry. If I ever fought Jerry Cooney, contractually, my contract with HBO allows me to do so.
Right.
So if that came about, I will make an announcement soon.
Would you fight him outside?
Contractually, we always been allowed.
Right, but
Don't act like I can't do it, Larry. I'm allowed to do it.
Yes, HBO agreed that Butch Lewis could try to make a match between Michael Spinks and Jerry Cooney, provided Cooney would agree to remain a part of the unification series should he win the fight. But Cooney refused to accept such a stipulation, thereby jeopardizing HBO's goal of unifying the heavyweight championship. The lines were now drawn for a battle between Butch Lewis and HBO, not in the ring, but in this courthouse in Lower Manhattan. And amid the confusion, Spinks was stripped of his IBF world title for refusing to make a match with then #1 contender Tony Tucker. With no title, a judge then ruled that Spinks was no longer contractually bound to the HBO series, clearing the way for Spinks-Cooney in June 1987.
It was titled The War at the Shore, and winning by a 5th-round knockout, Michael Spinks declared himself the people's champion, but he would be forced to take a back seat as he watched Tyson complete his collection of championship belts.
For the new WBA, WBC heavyweight champion of the world, Iron Mike Tyson. For the winner by unanimous decision and undisputed heavyweight champion of the world, Iron Mike Tyson.
For the first time in almost 9 years, boxing had 1 recognized heavyweight champion, yet the public was not satisfied.
You know, anytime I walk the streets, people come up to me and say, when are you going to fight Spinks? When are you going to fight Spinks? And it became very annoying all the time.
Finally, at the Tyson-Holmes fight, Tyson's managers felt the time was right for a showdown with Michael Spinks. But dealing with Butch Lewis would be difficult. According to Tyson's co-manager, the late Jim Jacobs, working a promotion with Butch Lewis is a torturous, agonizing experience, a horror. When the two sides were unable to come to terms, Jacobs' friend Shelley Finkel volunteered as mediator.
I don't know if it was problems or just a difference of where the dollars were as to what Bill Caton and Jim Jacobs had felt Michael Spinks and his party should get, as opposed to what Butch Lewis felt his party should get, and they were several $1 million apart.
Weeks later, both sides came to an agreement, thus setting up the biggest money fight in boxing history.
I've been involved in boxing for a great many years, and I've never known a fight as complicated or with all of the ramifications of this fight.
With me now in the studio is Jim Lampley. Jim, whatever one thinks of Butch Lewis and his tactics, it certainly has come out that he's pulled off a tremendous coup.
Well, indeed, Larry, I think to understand the long career of Michael Spinks in the ring, you have to pay close attention to the remarkable degree of loyalty that he has exhibited for Butch Lewis and vice versa. And you look at the confrontational style of Butch Lewis and some of the strange things that the two of them have done together, and you might wonder from time to time, well, why? Here's a great example of why. They will take home a great deal more money for this fight than would have been the case had they stayed within the confines of the HBO tournament.
Has Butch Lewis in the process communicated to his fighter that Mike Tyson is a guy to be feared?
I don't think it's that big a factor, because I think that of all the fighters in the ring today, perhaps none is more forthright and honest with himself and with the rest of the world about the degree of fear he carries into the ring than Michael Spinks. And if you're going to fight someone about whom you might be worried, you might as well get as many dollars for it as you possibly can.
Changing over, Jim, you and I a couple of months ago in Los Angeles attended the funeral of Jimmy Jacobs. Nobody could have foreseen the ramifications of his tragic death. What does this do to the promotion now?
Well, what's interesting is that maybe the greatest irony surrounding the fight, and there are many, is that it might not have taken place at the time at which it is taking place had not Jimmy Jacobs taken a turn for the worse. I think we can all agree to and accept the fact now that Jimmy wanted to see this fight take place within his lifetime, and consequently the deal was hustled along. He won't get a chance to see it. We will, partially because he was ill.
Jim, we'll see you then later. Primarily, the death of Jimmy Jacobs following the marriage of Mike Tyson set off a love, power, and money struggle that may actually affect the fight. The fascinating saga of the Boy King continues. At 9 years old, the future that he has already realized would have been inconceivable for Mike Tyson. From the streets of Brooklyn to a juvenile delinquent school in upstate New York, Mike Tyson was more apt to become a criminal than a champion. In 1980, however, at the age of 13, he first displayed the interest and power to be a boxer, and he was introduced to legendary trainer Cus D'Amato. A father-son relationship developed, as did the birth of a great fighter.
I don't know if it's born to be a champion, but I have that in mind, but I'm at least born to be a fighter.
By 15, he was already known for his quick and paralyzing knockout punch, such as only 9 seconds in the first round of his junior Olympic championship. As an amateur, he was exciting. As a pro, devastating.
But a fellow with this type of competitive spirit, plus the knowledge that he has gained and the punching power, I can't see him lose.
But he wouldn't see enough. Cus D'Amato, the most influential person in Tyson's life, died shortly after his 10th pro fight.
Cus always strived. He said, you could be the champ, even at a young age. And I believed in him. I developed that kind of confidence in him.